Good morning everyone, how you doing? It's Paul here from Unusual Things. Now I am at St George's Churchyard in York and we have come to find what is believed possibly could be, because no one's really sure, the final resting place of Dick Turpin. Now, usually I would walk around the churchyard or the cemetery and give you some spiel and some history on it, etc. But there isn't much room to walk around in here and there was literally 2 headstones. So I'm guessing one of those is going to be Dick Turpin. However, there's a little plaque here, which I will show you, and then we'll go and have a look at what could be his final resting place. Don't forget, if you like the video today, it's going to be very short. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free, does not cost you a penny, and hit the notification bell and you'll be notified when more videos come out. However, what I may do is just put some footage up of some other cemeteries or something like that and tell you about the Dick Turpin story, and then we'll visit his final resting place. I think that's the only way around it, to be honest with you. I'll think of something when I'm editing, but I'll show you this first. Dick Turpin. Turpin was born at the Bluebell Inn, later the Rose and Crown in Hempstead, Essex. He most likely became involved with the Essex gang of deer thieves in the early 1730s. The gang lived in or around London for a time. Turpin stayed at Whitechapel before moving to Millbank. On the 4th of February 1735, he met John Fielder, Samuel Gregory, Joseph Rose and John Wheeler at an inn along the Broadway in London. They planned to rob the house of Joseph Lawrence, a farmer at Aylesbury Farm in Edgware. Later that afternoon, after stopping twice along the way for food and drink, they captured a shepherd boy and burst into the house armed with pistols. They bound the 2 maidservants and brutally attacked the 70-year-old farmer. They pulled his breeches around his ankles and dragged him around the house, but Lawrence refused to reveal the whereabouts of his money. Turpin beat Lawrence bare buttocks with his pistols, badly bruising him, and other members of the gang beat him around the head with their pistols. They emptied a kettle of water over his head, forced him to sit bare-buttocked on the fire, and pulled him around the house by his nose and hair. Gregory took one of the maidservants upstairs and raped her. For their trouble, the gang escaped with a haul of less than £30, equivalent to £5,954 in 2023. 2 accounts of their capture exist. One claims that on their way to rob the Lawrence household, the gang had stopped at an alehouse in Edgware, and that on the 11th of February, while out walking, the owner noticed a group of horses outside an alehouse in Bloomsbury. He recognised these horses as those used by the same group of men who had stopped at his alehouse before the Lawrence attack and called the parish constable. Once Wheeler's confession became apparent, the other members of the gang fled their usual haunts. Turpin informed Gregory and the others of Wheeler's capture and left Westminster. On the 15th of February 1735, while Wheeler was busy confessing to the authorities, 3 or 4 men, most likely Herbert Haynes, Turpin and possibly Thomas Rowden, robbed the house of a Mrs. St John at Chingford. On the following day, Turpin and Rowden, if present, parted company with Gregory and Haynes and headed for Hempstead to see his family. Gregory and Haynes may have gone looking for Turpin because on the 17th of February they stopped at an alehouse in Debden and ordered a shoulder of mutton, intending of staying for the night. However, a man named Palmer recognised them and called the parish constable. With the Essex gang now smashed by the authorities, Turpin turned instead to the crime he had become most noted for, highway robbery. Although he may have been involved in the earlier highway robberies, on the 10th and 12th of April he was first identified as a suspect in one event on the 10th of July as Turpin the Butcher along with Thomas Rowden the Pewterer. Several days later, the two struck at Epping Forest, depriving a man from Southwark of his belongings with a further bounty of £100 on their heads. They continued their activities through the latter half of 1735. In August, they robbed 5 people accompanying a coach on Barnes Common, and shortly after that they attacked another coach party between Putney and Kingston Hill. On the 7th of April 1739, followed by his mourners, Turpin and John Steed, a horse thief, were taken through York by open cart to Knavesmire, which was then the city's equivalent of London's Tyburn gallows. Turpin behaved himself with amazing assurance and bowed to the spectators as he passed. He climbed a ladder to the gallows and spoke to his executioner. York had no permanent hangman, and it was the custom to pardon a prisoner on the condition that they acted as executioner. On this occasion, the pardoned man was a fellow highwayman, Thomas Hadfield. An account in the Gentleman's Magazine for the 7th of April 1739 notes Turpin's brashness. Turpin behaved in an undaunted manner as he mounted the ladder, feeling his right leg tremble. He spoke a few words to the topsman, then threw himself off and expired within 5 minutes. The short drop method of hanging meant that those executed were killed by slow strangulation, and so Turpin was left hanging until late afternoon, before being cut down and taken to a tavern in Cattlesgate. The next morning, Turpin's body was buried in the graveyard of St George's Church, Fishersgate, opposite what is now the Roman Catholic St George's Church. On the Tuesday following the burial, the corpse was reportedly stolen by body snatchers. The theft of cadavers for medical research was a common enough occurrence and was possibly tolerated by the authorities in York. The practice was, however, unpopular with the general public, and the body snatchers, together with Turpin's corpse, were soon apprehended by a mob. The body was recovered and reburied, supposedly this time in quicklime. Turpin's body is purported to lie in St George's graveyard, although some doubt persists as to the grave's authenticity. So that's the information there that's on the plaque, and we'll walk over and we'll find, well, I'll say there's one there and there's one there. And there's a few slabs on the floor as well, but we'll go over and have a quick look, shall we? I can't believe it's the only one in here, to be honest with you, but there you go. I suppose that's the way it is sometimes, isn't it? Oh, the other one's not even a head, it's not even a headstone. It's a tree. Oh my God, I really need my eyes tested. Look, from over at the entrance, that looked like a headstone to me. It's a tree. Anyway, I've been having a good look around, and it's the only one that's in here. I think I found it. You can't miss it. John Palmer, otherwise Richard Turpin, the notorious highwayman and horse stealer, executed at Tyburn April 7th, 1739 and buried in St George's Churchyard. Now, at one point it was believed that he was buried, body snatchers come and stole his body, but then they got him back again. But there's still a little bit of a question mark over it, shall we say. So we have the final resting place of Richard Turpin, Dick Turpin, not the nicest of men, not the best reputation. Some will say truly got what he deserved. Although a lot of people romanticised about him in terms of who he was and what he was, but he really wasn't a nice guy. Don't let the TV series and everything else fool you. He was a crook, a criminal and a bad guy. But it's an honour to be here. Well done, Dick. So there we have it, the final resting place of Dick Richard Turpin. Who'd have thought he'd have been here on his own? Well, there's some slabs here, so I'm assuming there's other people here, but it's a bit weird really, because they're just all laying down. So whether they've fallen down due to age or not, I don't know. Anyway, leave your comments down below. If you like the video today, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free, does not cost you a penny. Hit that notification bell and you'll be notified when more videos come out. And I'll see you all on the next one. Take it easy.